It's been more than 15 years since I started playing Metin 2. It's supposed to be a shitty Korean MMO with very outdated graphics and pay-to-win design, but I can't help myself, it's just calling me every now and then. I get this Metin 2 itch that I have to scratch, and I wanna explain this because I know I'm not alone. Most people have a so-called comfort game. A game that most of us got to know in their early teenage years that influenced us in many ways. It opened our horizons to many other games as well. It was kind of our gateway drug. For me, this is Metin 2. But I know for many it is also RuneScape, Lineage, Silk Road, Cabal and many other games. Back in the day, MMOs were the thing that everyone played. It was one of the most important genres of our generation, so I know most of us played with one or the other. Metin 2 specifically was considered one of the shitty ones, but I have my reasons why I've been playing this since. I was 12 or 13 years old, something like that. Metin 2 had an advertisement on every single website you visited, so I clicked out of curiosity. The ad said something like Metin 2 Oriental Action. It seemed really fun. I downloaded the game, started playing it. Didn't have any clue what I'm doing, but there were lots of players. I started chatting with them, asking questions, what should I do? Started getting friends and getting deeper and deeper in the Metin 2 rabbit hole. The higher level I got, the game became harder and harder. Getting XP started to become slower, the mobs started to kill me, and the world became more dangerous. I remember the first time and then through the portal to the second map. I was genuinely afraid where I am. What are those mobs? Can I go back? You have to realize this was at the early days of internet. Information was much harder to get. You didn't have a YouTube guide for every single question you had. And the game was also pretty bad at explaining itself. The only way I was able to get help was to ask players. It sounds silly, but I genuinely miss these times. This made the world feel so much bigger, more interesting, and all in all, much more fun. After a while, I got my horse, got familiar with the higher level maps, and the game opened up, but progression also slowed down drastically. Leveling started to feel like an eternity, item upgrades started to become very expensive and RNG heavy. I also found out about the cash shop and how badly pay-to-win the game really is. And actually, after a while, I just quit. I started playing other games and didn't look back for a while. But then, I heard about private servers and oh boy, Metin 2 hits very hard and very differently when it's done right. I think it's time to describe how Metin 2 works and what it's like to play with it. Metin 2, as I said, is an Asian grind-heavy MMO where the progression is designed in a way that publishers have infinite amount of opportunities to make it very pay-to-win. Yeah. The game originally featured 4 classes. The max level was 99. The progression had 2 general directions. First was item upgrades, and the second was skill upgrades. Both of them featured heavy RNG, of course, and also a daily gating system. The combat system was actually quite unique. It was step targeting on paper, but in reality it was more of an early iteration of soft action combat, where you could aim your skills and your auto attacks. Unfortunately, players realized that using skills is not really effective in PvE combat, and also on a mount your character deals way more damage, so 2 out of the 4 classes were already much weaker because they couldn't enhance their autos as much. After a while, people realized if you wanted to progress effectively, you could only play warrior or Sura. Shamans basically became buff bots, and ninjas were only really useful in PvP, which was never really finished in the original game. You didn't have any rewards or any proper PvP progression, so nobody really cared. All in all, this sounds very stupid, so why would anybody play this game if it's this bad? Well, the base ideas of the game, even with a bad iteration, seemed to work somehow. There were tons of players during the first years, but slowly people started to realize it's just not worth to give this company even more money and also time and the player base slowly drifted apart. Since the base game became very popular, the community decided to have their own take, and slowly after launch, private servers became a thing. Private servers for Metin 2 were basically the solution for many players, including me. Of course, nothing is perfect. There were many cash grab servers, but also there are some memorable ones too. The community started to fix the game. Many pay-to-win elements became a free, farmable, repeatable part of the progression, and you could explore the game without paying a single dime and get quite far. But with P servers, another problem spawned. If you didn't lock progression so hard as the original version, it turns out there is not enough content in the game. So private servers started to make content for the game, and there were some amazing ones. People remade the whole game from start to finish, rebalancing it, added lots of new ideas. It's just brilliant to think how good Metin 2 could be if it's done right, and I just can't think of a reason why Gameforge chooses a couple of whales that pay thousands for them every month if they could choose tens or even maybe hundreds of thousands of players who would actively play their game and pay a little. I have my best memories of the game on those private servers. Most of them came and go. There are not many who stay for long, but you have to accept that if you play on private servers in any kind of game. So here we are now. Gameforge is a greedy company. They barely support the game for the few ways, and on the other hand, fights with private servers, actively banning YouTube and Twitch channels who feature them, even though they could just hire the developers and make a solid MMO that people whose childhood game is Metin 2 would still play today. Why didn't they try a classic model like many other MMOs, going back for the original level 99 vibes? I just don't know. This game is so mismanaged, yet it could be very solid. I know I'm not alone, and I'm making this video for other players like me who spent their childhood growing up with Metin 2 or other similar games and forced to play on private servers because the original publisher for the game doesn't really care. I hope these games get some justice in the future from a real, caring publisher, because there would be an audience. If you liked the video, please leave a like and a comment down below. Help me grow this channel and unite gamers from the 2010 era.